In this video, I will talk about the player character, controlling a player character with keyboard and mouse, and two types of player character messages that are created by Camelot. A player character is a character in a video game whose actions are directly controlled by a player rather than the rules of the game. To allow the player to control a character with the keyboard and mouse, you can use the enable input command. However, Camelot has no notion of the player character. When you enable the input, the character that is the focus of the camera using the set camera focus command can be controlled with keyboard and mouse. You can change the player character during the game by changing the focus of a camera to a different character. The input in Camelot is enabled and disabled via an integer number. The input is enabled when this number is 0. When you call the disable input command, this number is decreased by 1. It means that you must call the enable input command as many times as you call the disable input command to increase that number to 0. On the other hand, the input number never increases above 0. It means that you only need to call the disable input once to disable the input, regardless of how many times you have called the enable input command. Suppose that you want to show the menu when the player presses the escape button and pauses the game. Pressing the escape button automatically disables the input. When you call the show menu command, the input is automatically disabled again. So if your experience manager hides the menu when the player clicks the resume button, the hide menu command only enables the input once, and you need to manually enable the input again. However, if the player presses the escape again when the menu is open, and your experience manager hides the menu, pressing the escape button and the hide menu command enable the input twice, and you don't need to enable the input manually. When the player controls the player character, there are different types of messages that are generated by Camelot. First, Camelot generates different input commands based on the keyboard buttons that the player has pressed. If the player presses the I button, Camelot generates the message. If the player presses E, Camelot generates the message. Finally, if the player presses the escape, Camelot first disables the input automatically and then generates the message. If the player presses the escape again, Camelot automatically enables the input and generates the same message. In addition, when a character that is the focus of a camera enters or leaves the vicinity of another entity, a message is generated by Camelot to reflect that interaction. In addition to those messages, Camelot also records the world position of the character that is the focus of the camera. These messages can specifically be used by the walk to spot command to move the character to specific points in the world.